Hello everybody, I'm Ramsis.
And I'm TheVespor.
And we're here for another episode of Vesper's Retro Reviews. That's right, we're back for another episode of Transformers. And now we're up to episode number 4 of the first season, which was released on October 6, 1984 in syndication.
After seeing all the wonderful mistakes and plot holes in this, how can you not want to look at each and every episode of the first season and go, how many shortcuts did they take and just how many things did they get wrong in this?
Oh, and believe me, they got a lot wrong. Even though this was sort of the continuation after the pilot, they didn't know if they were going to do it, but they were working on this at the same time. It took months to make it, but here it is. Right away, we had the first season of episodes, and yeah, get ready, folks. It's going to get so much more fun from here. This episode's called Transport to Oblivion. It was written by Bryce Malick and Dick Robbins. So already we have an idea of what this is going to be about.
Oh, absolutely. And by the way, this is no secret. If you know anything at all about Transformers, then you should know about the Space Bridge. And guess what? The first actual episode that's not a pilot brings it into play, so right there off the bat.
We got history right here. The Space Bridge, and here it is, Space Bridge. And remember how we talked about Shockwave being missing in action after the first episode? Well, he's going to make a few appearances here, and yeah, stay tuned for that, because that's going to be funny. And besides that, everyone else is pretty much all the characters you've already seen in the first 3, so there's no new surprises here. I think that's all the exposition out of the way. Anything else you want to say, Vespor, before we start things up here?
Oh, it's going to get silly. Besides that, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and
ring that bell. Definitely subscribe if you want to see more. We will have a lot more Transformers episodes on the way. And now, we bring you Transport to Oblivion.
That's right. Now, we start off a little bit differently than you remember from the third part of the pilot episode. The Autobots are no longer going straight up into space and travel back to Cybertron. No, we're taking place immediately a few months after they crash land into the ocean.
We mentioned this a few times as we did these episodes that this part of the first season was done separately from the pilot part of the first season, so there's going to be some things that don't make sense, but it definitely connects. Believe me, the stories connect, but they don't explain why the Autobots are back on Earth, why it's been so long, what's been going on the whole time. It's just a few months have passed and the Autobots have just been standing around pretty much in the Ark looking for something to do. I mean, that's what we have to assume because it makes no sense. Why are the Autobots still here? If the Decepticons are destroyed, go back home, you're done. That's it.
But also, we get many cutaway scenes, and then of course we have Cliffjumper decides to come out and shoot a rock they're standing next to that looks like a Seeker.
It's always funny to hear Casey Kasem yell this stuff. They're like, oh, Decepticon! And he's screaming it. Cliffjumper is heavily used in these first few episodes, and this one he's guns a-blazing and destroys a rock, and like, what's going on here? And even Optimus is like, stop it, you moron! What are you doing? The Decepticons are gone.
They may not be dead, Prime says, as he walks over next to the ocean that's right next to the Ark.
I didn't know they were right on the Pacific Ocean on the border. Why? They moved the Ark or the mountain? What happened here?
The Decepticons are gone for good. I wish I could believe that, Ironhide.
After this statement, they pan and show the bottom of the ocean and show that in the 2 months that they have been gone and soon dead, that literally they build a city around the spaceship.
And yeah, I want you to look at this. It's not just the ship that crash land, by the way. It is a whole underwater Atlantis that's been built here. Living modules, they're all lit up, they're all nice. He built a whole city for his 10 troops here to live in, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. And while they come back in and they're like, oh, they think we're dead and they're not going to do anything so we can come up with our master plan. Well, that master plan unfolds when we see Shockwave on Cybertron in his pistol form shooting nothing.
4 million years ago, the Autobots and Decepticons left Cybertron. Shockwave is left to his own vices. So what does he do in his own time? He's turning into his gun form and randomly shooting at nothing and then complaining that he's out of energy. I'm like, what?
That's it right here. And the first thing he thinks of is, oh my god, our energon stores are critically low. And you're thinking, if you're shooting nothing, that's your fault.
Right? So what has Shockwave been doing for energy?
Well, technically he should have been in a standby mode with the sensors going on low passive, so if anything happens, it would activate him. But it doesn't make any sense because we all know Shockwave is the only Cybertronian left on Cybertron right now.
As far as we know.
And he is beyond loyal. We thought Soundwave was loyal. Oh no, Shockwave is beyond loyal because first thing he thinks to do is, I need to see if Megatron is still here.
You have to also wonder, gee, every million years it's time for that call to Megatron to see if he'll answer, so how long has this been going on?
They come and talk and find out that they made a newly constructed space bridge that apparently only took 4 million years to complete, by the way.
Now, they don't explain anything about it, they don't explain where it came from, it's just, our space bridge is done. Excellent, Megatron, because I'm running out of energy. I'm starving here. Can you please send something? Don't worry, we'll get you energy. So the Decepticons need more energy. That's the plot of almost every first season episode. Energy, energy, energy. And where they go, where every evil person goes when you need energy, a power plant.
No. You said it wrong, Ramses. They went to a solar plant. The best part about this is you have Ravage, you have Laserbeak, you have all these infiltrating bots on the Decepticons. So who do they send to infiltrate? They send in Soundwave in his radio form, and the workers are like, turn down the radio. It's not my radio.
Haven't we seen this gag many times before?
Well, all I know is that Soundwave can recon anything better than the Autobots.
It looks that way. Soundwave always gets it done. That's the thing you remember. When Soundwave does reconnaissance, it always goes successfully.
Problem is, Laserbeak doesn't do a good job because Soundwave ejects him and he goes, destroy. And I'm thinking, I thought you wanted the generators. In a solar power plant, there are no generators.
That's right, yes. Isn't it a solar power plant? Did we forget something here?
You store the energy in batteries. But the best part about this is, beyond the fact that he's telling Laserbeak to destroy, I guess, the generators, he's also telling him to destroy the humans. And as we saw in the first pilot episodes, Laserbeak could hit the flea off of a cat's tail. And as we see here, he can't shoot a human 5 feet in front of him that's standing still.
Yeah, and then they're both like, oh, well, I guess that scared them away. I'm like, well, all right, destroy the humans, or did you mean just merely frighten them a little so they'll run away? That seems more like what they were doing here.
And it also makes no sense because as soon as this happens, he radios Megatron, and then every Decepticon must have just been literally standing behind this one door right here.
They blow up the loading door, they all peek in, it's like, peekaboo, here we are. Why not just send the whole force in the first place? What were you hoping? Just in case Soundwave doesn't make it, we'll sort of hold back, and oh, he made it good, now we can all storm in and destroy the place.
I mean, I really think that, Megatron's really the leader of the Autobots here because he is incapable of killing anything.
No, you fool, and he's always yelling at everybody, don't do violent things. It's like, what? He wants to take over everything. He mentions that in this episode, by the way.
Megatron, leader of the Decepticons, and the future ruler of the universe.
Well, to rule the universe, you gotta be a little more cutthroat, you gotta be a little more powerful, you gotta be a little more willing to do what it takes, not just scream and rant and rave and tell everyone to do things after the fact.
But the best part about all this is, they're doing this and the Autobots have no clue. Spike with his hands behind his back of his head driving down a street.
He's not even pretending that he's driving the car, which is very foolish because right now at this point the Transformers are sort of incognito. Jazz is like, yeah, I'll turn it up for you, and the canned music they're going to use in almost every episode, by the way, it's very 80s techno sounding music.
Synthesized.
Yes, that's the music. Oh, this is great. And then the traffic lights out.
And the entire city goes black. They're like, something's going on. I guess we need to tell Optimus. I'm like, what's Optimus have to do with a brownout?
Optimus, there's a blackout in the city. And Optimus should be like, okay, what would you like me to do? Manually run the generator at the power plant?
The fact is, Optimus here is standing there in front of Teletran 1 going, start skating. Let's see if we can't figure this out. I'm sitting here thinking, Optimus, it's obvious. They need more power stations or something to make more energy. Luckily, Teletran 1 is smart enough to realize that it's obviously the Decepticons milking the generators for energy.
And then Optimus's reaction is,
Megatron lives.
yes, Optimus, you've been staying on Earth for months in the knowledge that the Decepticons probably survived. Why else are you still on Earth waiting for this?
And you've been monologuing for at least 2 scenes at the very beginning of the actual show. Think about it. The Decepticons were literally able to build the lost city of Atlantis, and they didn't notice this.
Yes, because remember, they had to fly out of the ocean, they had to get all the supplies, they had to hook everything up. This went on for months. Gee, yeah, we're just standing around wondering if the Decepticons are around. So all that silliness out of the way. Optimus is going to put together a small strike team. You might be wondering, gee, why a small strike team? Well, and again, this makes no sense because of what we just said in the previous scene. They're on routine patrol, and we're like, wait a minute, Optimus, didn't you just say the Decepticons are probably dead? We don't know where they are. So what are they patrolling exactly? Are they just randomly going out looking for criminals to go after?
Not only that, but if you're right next to the ocean, don't you need a couple of Autobots that can turn into boats as well?
So yes, most of the Autobots are on, quote, patrol, and we don't hear any more about it after that. So all we have is Ironhide, Ratchet, Prowl, Cliffjumper, Gears, Bumblebee, and that's the whole entire force. I want you guys to remember that because I think we're going to see some others show up besides Ironhide, Ratchet, Prowl, Cliffjumper, Gears, and Bumblebee.
Absolutely, because after all, one thing we found out about Transformers cartoons is that there's more Transformers than meets the eye in every episode.
You better believe it. That team of Autobots, including Optimus Prime, are all going to drive to this solar power plant to stop the Decepticons. The Decepticons have already pretty much won because they got the surprise attack here. They've been draining the energy out of the...
Wait, Ramses. I still said it before, and I'll say it again. They're milking energy. Look at that. From generators.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Yeah, so they're literally holding pipes of energy and pouring it into these Energon cubes now. So that's different from what we saw in the previous episodes where you just hooked it up like a gas tank.
I know why it is. Because if you remember in the first episode, oil turns into Energon and you have to hook it up.
Right,
so
right.
energy just is already Energon and it just drips into the...
The important thing to note here is however they're doing it, and it's ridiculous how they're doing it, they're filling up these Energon cubes with solar energy, and they pretty much won. They have a whole stack of cubes ready to take back to Cybertron. And I mean a lot. They got a lot of cubes out of this. The Autobots show up too late.
And the best part about all this is, right when the fight gets ready to get started, Cliffjumper does the most epic thing ever. He tackles Megatron in the nuts.
I'll get them after I've taken care of you.
Ooh, that's gotta hurt. Yeah, so I will give Cliffjumper credit that he was brave and he went for the low blow, but...
They're just robots. But still, it's funny as hell.
Cliffjumper is a ridiculous character. In these first 4 episodes, he's been shown to be hot-headed and jumping into situations and insubordinate and just trying to take on the whole team by himself when he's no bigger than Bumblebee. I mean, what is wrong with this guy?
Not what's wrong with this guy. It's what's wrong with Ironhide. During the battle, Megatron always has to get the last shot in. He's getting ready to blast Optimus, and Ironhide throws himself in the way and takes one for the team.
Somehow a Megatron blast didn't kill Ironhide. He's just a little bit injured, but in the future it's going to totally destroy him, and we'll get to that when we...
Well, to be fair, he's actually executed in the back of the skull. But
yeah, well...
let's move on now.
So Ironhide is injured, and that stops the whole battle, because Ironhide's injuries now take precedence to everything. We got to get back to the base. So Megatron actually won. All the Decepticons get away with the Energon cubes, and it sets up what's going to happen next now. But we'll get to the Space Ridge in a moment, because we do have to have a little hijinks at the base here while Ironhide's being looked at.
Absolutely, because we have Ratchet going, I gotta do some R&R on you, Ironhide, and Sparkplug's like, what's R&R? Replace and repair.
And Ironhide's being the old crotchety patient.
Hold on a second, Ramses. Wait a second. Pause. Go there. What is Ratchet doing to Ironhide right there? And why is he smiling while he's doing this?
I don't know what he's doing.
All I know is that we got 2 nut shots for the price of 1.
Yeah. And then he pushes another button right in that area, threatening to turn off his voice box if he doesn't shut up.
Are you saying that robots have their voice controls in their crotch?
I guess so. That's what he was reaching around for. I just find it so funny whenever they open up one of these Transformers. It seems to me almost impossible to work on one of these because of how complicated it must be to fix like every little part on them that needs maintenance at all times.
Back to Optimus, and he starts talking about, we need to figure out what's going on. Bumblebee, I'm going to send you on recon because I know for a fact you won't pull out a gun bigger than your body and try to shoot Megatron in the head.
And also, don't forget, Bumblebee's main function is espionage. If you look on his stats for the toy, he is supposed to be espionage. That is his function. They're using it properly. And they will use this probably.
Wait a second.
In many episodes, we'll be doing the spying.
Ramses?
Yeah.
Here's the best part, is that Spike's just staying around, and he's going, can I go with you, Bumblebee? And he's like, sure. And I'm sitting here thinking, if I was Spark Club, I'd be like, wait a second.
I'd be like, what?
Off we go, into the middle of the desert. We don't see that ocean again, by the way. Apparently, the Autobots are so clueless about what's going on, they've literally built a rail system and a space bridge on their end.
And not too far away. Obviously, it seems like they get there very quickly, so this can't be more than, what, a half hour away or something? Go by and find out out. We didn't have any clues where they were. We had no idea what they were up to, but we find it in 2 seconds, and here you go. I still don't get the point of why Spike went along with him. It doesn't make any sense to me, but yes, they stumble upon the
bridge to Cybertron?
While Bumblebee and Spike are watching, they activate this wonderful space bridge, and guess what? It doesn't work. Here's the thing, though, that bothers me about this. They're sending the Energon already through for a test.
Yeah, I thought that too. I'm like, all right, so they're going to do this test here. They never used it before. It is fully loaded with like 30 Energon cubes in the backseat. Let's do a test. And Shockwave is like, Megatron, I didn't get anything. And Megatron's like, what? Yeah, oh, maybe it needs a manned pilot. Well, yeah, gee, maybe you should have thought of that before you just sent 30 cubes tumbling into the unknown universe, never to be seen again.
And Megatron's like, what are we going to do about this? We're going to have to take volunteers. And of course, right at that time, that's when Bumblebee and Spike, you hear them walking away from the edge.
Very noisily, by the way.
I want to volunteer to guide the vehicle over the bridge to Cybertron.
And they turn and look, and instead of seeing nothing, Bumblebee is standing on the edge of the cliff that they walked away from.
And he transforms into his car form there, so the tire is now hanging off the side of it.
And is trapped on all sides by Decepticons.
I mean, I'm a Bumblebee fan, but this was not his finest moment. Unfortunately, say Bumblebee goofed on this one.
I'm also going to agree with you on this, because maybe at this distance, Cliff Jumper wouldn't have missed.
And now guess what? Oh, the moment after Megatron said, I need a volunteer. Well, guess who our volunteers are going to be? Yes, Bumblebee and Spike are going to be going to Cybertron. There's a very weird time period for the usage of the space bridge. That's not going to be coming to play much in later episodes. I think once or twice it might be mentioned. But in this one, Shockwave stresses you only have 11 minutes to use this device. Then you have to wait 3,000 more astroseconds.
You see this thing? Obviously, they didn't have time to build a pilot seat like Shockwave asked them to. Furthermore, they now have it. There's 2 seats conveniently.
Yes, 2 seats.
And did Bumblebee shrink even more because...
It's about the same size as Spike now, yeah.
And the seats are human size.
Right.
What is going on here?
Even though he wanted a volunteer who was associated with Decepticon to go in there, so what was he going to send? Rumble or Frenzy? I guess they could have fit.
Both of them,
yeah,
obviously.
So that's the only thing I could think of because it's human-sized seats. So now Megatron thought ahead, gee, in case I have 2 pilots that are needed, I better build seats before he even realized that he needed to have a pilot to fly this thing.
Pilotception, we'll call it that.
Yeah, now comes the stuff I mentioned where, yes, you have 11 minutes to use this thing, and guess what? 11 minutes passed right after they're about to launch Bumblebee and Spike into this. And now Bumblebee does a ridiculous thing to get away here. So imagine a Volkswagen Beetle inside of this pod while Spike is sitting there.
By the way, folks, look at it. He transforms, then busts out, and I'm saying here, shouldn't Spike just be a smear on the inside?
Right. A mini bot, because he must have shrunk down when he did that. Because he just pops out of the window and then he expands back to the size he's supposed to be. And he speeds off without Spike, by the way. He transforms, drives off, and he's like, bye, Spike, I'll see you later.
Yeah, Spike, of course, runs right next to Bumblebee.
And we're not kidding, run. Run is the key word because he must be going 30 miles an hour here. And Spike is running right after at the bumper there.
And you know what? If it wasn't for that darn rock, he probably could have beat that Volkswagen Bug.
And then Bumblebee finally turns around, by the way. He says, oh, Spike, what's wrong?
And Spike's like, go! Don't worry about me.
Starscream and Skywarp go after him, so he can't. Spike's like, go, just leave me, I'm alright. And Bumblebee's like, okay, I'm gonna go get help. And Bumblebee does leave. And then Spike's put into a cage to hold him in place.
What happens now is after Bumblebee has said his goodbyes, he's like, whew, better you than me.
Yeah, it's like, well, there you go. I'm glad I brought him along.
He is chased by Skywarp and Starscream into this cave. And he's like, oh, look, I guess I'll just climb up. And guess what? They're waiting for him. And here's the thing that surprises you. As soon as they capture him, you turn, and Megatron's miraculously just appeared right there. I actually thought that was Mirage because he arrived just at the right time.
Now, this is another ridiculous part of the episode, and I guess every episode has a ridiculous moment. So Starscream's all mad at Megatron. I told you I was going to take him at this. So they bicker like an old married couple. That's the funny thing about Megatron and Starscream. They're always yelling and arguing with each other. It's kind of
come on now. This is obviously the Odd Couple done for the 80s.
Yes, exactly. So Starscream's like, I wanted to get, and Megatron's like, shut up, I'm the leader, get out of the way, is pretty much
I don't trust you to do anything, Starscream.
Right, exactly, and Starscream's like, oof, I never. So now Megatron has this ridiculous power that I don't even know if we'll ever see this power used ever again. A tube will come out of his chest, and he's gonna hook it up to Bumblebee and be like, I'm gonna mess with his memory chips here with my memory displacement device, and he's gonna mess with some of his memory so that Bumblebee will return to base and tell him that the space bridge is at another location. Not where it actually is, but he's gonna mess with his memory so that it's at another location.
Well, you know what? I kind of wonder about that, because maybe it affected his memories. Did he forget that literally Starscream in the 3rd episode pulled down on Megatron and tried to kill him?
Yeah, exactly. Why doesn't Megatron use his power on Starscream? I want you to be more loyal, Starscream. I'm gonna make you forget about all these horrible things you've done to me. I mean, if he has that ability, shouldn't Megatron use this more often?
It fixed a lot of his loyalty problems on his team, that's for certain.
There is a weird effect you have when you're under the influence of it, but stay tuned for that. That's gonna be a lot of fun to see what happens here.
So now we do another famous scene shift.
And now we see Bumblebee's already back at the base. Do you see this here?
Yeah, he needs to be back there because Sparkplug is absolutely worried. And he knows that something bad has happened to Bumblebee and Spike.
But Bumblebee's standing right behind him.
That's how he knows. He's there. It's like, hey, they can't.
Bad is having a Bumblebee even though you're standing right behind me. That's amazing.
So, from what we know about the time in this, they've been gone 11 minutes. Oh God, he's been gone for 11 minutes.
Oh no, what will we ever do? I know something's happened to them.
No, Sparkplug, you should never have let your son go with the Autobots on reconnaissance. As of the 1st season, nobody on your team knows how to be silent and stealthy.
So now the real Bumblebee shows up, not the one standing behind him that's supposed to be Cliff Jumper, by the way. Huff, puff. Oh, Spike's been captured. Oh my God, what are we gonna do? Blah, blah, blah. There's space bridge. They're ready to go. All right, Bumblebee, where's that space bridge? And now Bumblebee's talking regularly before all this when he's explaining everything until he says, where's the space bridge? And then suddenly he talks like zombie Bumblebee.
And gives the exact coordinates.
The bridge is located in a cave 96.4 miles from the highway.
So he's talking like this, and they're like, are you sure, Bumblebee? That sounds weird. And then again, he'll say it in that zombie Bumblebee voice. All right, he's never wrong. So I guess even though he's talking like a zombie, acting really weird, illogical location, we'll just go along with it because he's never wrong.
Also, something bothering me about this. Notice when he's in his zombie mode, there's blue sparks coming out of his forehead.
I think Ratchet would be like, Bumblebee, I want to look you over here. You're sounding strange, acting strange, and you're glowing blue. No, he's never wrong. All right, he's talking like a zombie, but let's go anyway. I'm just like, sounds good to me. Before they leave, Laserbeak is already there spying on them. And Laserbeak's almost grinning, and he's all happy. He's recording it. Laserbeak flies back to the base. He goes right back into Soundwave. Report, Soundwave. And Soundwave pushes the play button.
Then there's no time to waste. We must go to the cave and destroy the space bridge immediately.
And I'm sitting here thinking, I bet Megatron's thinking, this is a double blind by Optimus. They obviously caught him and told him this to let it come back here, so we should completely disregard everything.
But no, this time he's like, aha, my plan worked. Yes, they're gonna head to this location I put in that foolish Autobot. Woo-hoo-hoo, we're gonna get him. So yeah, Bumblebee now leads them all to this cave location, the cave he was in before. So they're all like, gee, Bumblebee, are you sure about this? And Zombie Bumblebee is like, yes, this is the location. Again, beep, boop. Like, all right, if Bumblebee says this is the location, I guess this is the location.
And boy, oh boy, do we have a great fight here, folks. Because, first of all, they all roll in, they charge in, Megatron's waiting. You see that there's exactly 4 Decepticons still against 6 Autobots. No, wait a second.
6, no.
Oh, wait, that's Brawn? What's he doing here?
And isn't that Sideswipe there? And maybe Trailbreaker and Sunshinger too? Wait a minute. They weren't with the original away team to head to this location.
Well, you know what? While you're pondering on that, we should be pondering on how Jazz takes a stalagmite and uses it like a baseball bat against Starscream's null ray.
Must not be a very powerful laser. I don't know why everyone's so afraid of Starscream. You could just take any random object and bat it out of the way. Wow. Shouldn't it have disintegrated the whole thing upon contact?
You can't really null a rock. I just want to say that.
So now while this is all going on, there's explosions everywhere, they're fighting. They locked them in place, we want to mention. There's a huge rock slide. The Decepticons locked them in there. They can't get out.
I'm going to quote you on this one.
I'm not locked in here with you.
You're locked in here with me.
And that fits very well, because that's pretty much how it is. It's like, who's trapped with who? You have more Autobots against less Decepticons, so who really has who trapped? But the battle's broken because Shockwave keeps on interrupting. So now, Shockwave at the beginning had to use a screen to call him. But now we have an intergalactic call. You wonder what the rates on this are. Right to Megatron's belly button because it's blinking blue every time Shockwave tries to reach him. So like, now the communication works right directly to Megatron. You didn't need it through the screen anymore. Shockwave could push a button and do a long distance call directly to Megatron. That's amazing.
That's right. And of course, they have to get ready to leave. But before that, we still have to have a nice little showdown with Megatron and Optimus Prime. But not before Megatron tries to kill Ironhide and Optimus returns the favor and saves him, only to somehow stick his foot later on in some rubble?
So then Megatron's like, aha, I got you now. You know, he'll do the typical bad guy boasting. Instead of just blasting Optimus' head off or something like smart to do, he does the Inspector Gadget thing where his hand extends into his body and another weapon forms. Go Gadget saw blade. And I'm not making this up. Megatron fires a spinning saw blade at Ironhide and Optimus to try to get them. Saw blade bounces off the rock, goes on the ceiling, goes around everywhere and distracts everybody.
And frees Optimus at the same time.
Right, and frees Optimus. So I'm like, what? Why?
Well, no, here's the best part. After this fails, he pulls out another laser out of that same arm.
Yes, so now he does a Go Gadget laser blast, but he doesn't get to fire. Shockwave, I'm busy. Can't you see I'm trying to destroy the Autobots here, but I need energy. Please help me. Like, oh, all right. 4 minutes left. All right, guys, we got to get out of here.
All right, so Megatron runs over to Starscream and says, blow open the hole. And then Starscream, showing more backbone than usual, says,
Starscream? Retreat? Never!
so I'm like, what?
It was very ridiculous. You would wish Starscream would say that when they really are trying to escape, but he now says it in a moment when they're not trying to escape, but they're trying to get to their other objectives. So it was really weirdly used.
And here's the thing about it. Megatron's cannon is much more powerful than Starscream's. Why didn't he just blow it up?
Yeah, why not just take your fusion cannon, blam, you're done. Starscream, blow it up as he's watching. Megatron, don't you have that gigantic thing on your arm that would take care of this in like 1 second? So Starscream, after being yelled at by Daddy Megatron, has to do it. He blows up the rocks, and they're all cleared away instantly, by the way. Every single rock is exploded and dissolved, and it's gone, and they all easily fly out, and you have lots of repeating characters showing up here, so there's a lot more Decepticons than I thought you said there were here. 2 reflectors, they're flying off.
Where's the third one, by the way?
Yeah, I know. I guess they can't form the camera without him. Yeah, I don't know. The third one's missing in action, but the second one appeared out of thin air. Megatron then uses his own weapon to trap them in there again. So I'm like, why didn't you just use your weapon in the first place to get out? But now you're using the weapon to trap them in.
And he has to transform because he needs his more powerful.
It's always cool when Megatron turns the gun because you won't see this much that, yes, Megatron actually has to transform. You never see it much, but when he becomes a gun, it's usually Soundwave or Starscream that gets to use it. And Starscream blams the rock slide and it falls exactly back into formation. So you're wondering how much rock cliff there is that they keep shooting it and shooting it. Must be unlimited rocks there that it keeps falling in. So now the Autobots are trapped, and that's good enough for Megatron. Aha! You'll never see the Autobots again. They're trapped in there as they fly off. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. So how easy was it for them to get out of this? And he thinks that same trap is going to keep the Autobots, who are more in number and have more weapons, they're going to be trapped in there. So before they get out, we have the Bumblebee is injured moment. So he's lying there all, ugh. His chest is open and all his parts. And Ratchet's like, golly gee, Bumblebee, you don't look good. Let me, oh, wait a minute. Beep, 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 beep. Your memory chips have been altered. Now, I don't know why this matters at this point, because it's already, it matters because he has to tell him where it really is. So Ratchet will, like, buzz and beep and do a few things.
Wait a second. How do you know his memory chips were altered when he's working on his belly? And it shows Megatron literally went to his head to change it.
I was wondering that myself, but I thought Ratchet is just that smart. He probably tied into his whole system somehow. And
Ratchet just has a fixation on the lower parts of the Autobot.
So Bumblebee's memory snaps back into place, and he says, I know where it is now! Yes! So now they're gonna go to the real location of the Space Ridge. But they're still trapped. Oh no, what will they do?
Oh look, they all line up and shoot it.
They do exactly what the Decepticons did to get out. So I will give the writers credit. At least it was logical. The writers realized, well, if the Decepticons got out the way, the Autobots can get out there.
Well, thing is, Megatron had set up better traps in the pilot episodes than this. I thought whenever they all entered the cave, they were going to be on the outside. Trap them in there, then he just pushes a button and explodes them.
But no, we're running out of time, so we gotta just do the blam and we're out of here. So they all roll out. By the way, we have less Autobots again. We're back to the original group of Autobots, so the 3 that showed up are disappeared again. And now we're back to the regular group of Autobots are heading to the Space Ridge.
And we see now that Spike is trapped inside this energy cage.
And then Soundwave's like, Ravage, get out of here, in his Soundwave voice, and it's kind of funny.
And then we see here that Spike has a seizure. Emma! I'm coming, Emma!
So yeah, it's very strange because, you know, when you do that pose, you're trying to say, I got this, I got this. But what does he got? He's trapped.
So Spike recovers from his seizure and
says, well, gee, I guess I've served my time. I'm free to go, right?
Free to go to Cybertron.
So I'm going to give it down. Drop the mic, Soundwave.
Well, there, you got me on that
I
one.
mean, Best burns ever. Now we take and go back to the new space car, which is smaller.
It's only one seat now, right?
Yes, and less energon.
The design of it keeps changing every time we see this. So this is the third car now.
Yep, and Megatron's very smart. He says, if you don't wish to be blasted into the void of space, focus on the light and go into it. And I'm sitting here thinking, you know what? That's what every human knows about.
Run to the light, baby! Mommy is in the light.
If you want to live, you don't go to the light. But in this case, you have to go to the light. But the good news is, if we arrive at Cybertron, Shockwave's going to be unconscious on the floor with no energy. So
That's true. Shockwave will be dead anyway, so don't worry about it. He's getting ready. They're sending it on. And Bumblebee's like, that's it. I got to save him now because I feel bad I left in the first place. And you should feel bad, Bumblebee. Again, I'm a fan of yours, but that was very foolish what you did driving off without him. But Optimus, though, is so cool in this. He's like, I'll back you. And he takes out his usual rifle, clicks it to a new setting, you know, a la Aliens, where they have all the settings on these guns. And Bumblebee's racing. Optimus fired 3 bullets from this laser rifle. 1 caused the thing to open, 2 caused the straps around him. Spike's just like spinning around.
What? Wait a second. Wait, what? We've seen these things can blow up mountainsides.
Well, he changed the setting, remember? He flipped on the setting.
Well, Spike should be a charred crispet.
No,
No. Wait a second. Well, the first one hits from the front, but the other one curves around his neck to hit the second one.
Yeah, it was one of those boomerang shots. That's how
Holy
fast
crap.
it was.
Optimus, I bow down to you. Maybe you should just go on recon against Megatron, because with these shooting skills, you won't miss.
But now we're going to have our Knight Rider moments of the episode. You know, all these 80s shows where you have all these stunts happening. You have guys hanging on the hood while the car is driving. This one's even better. He's not even going to hang on to the windshield wipers. He's not going to hang on to the window. Spike is now going to flop himself out of the now open space car and just sort of belly flop onto the hood of a Volkswagen, which is curved, by the way.
Wait, don't forget this. Bumblebee is actually driving in front of the thing, so Spike doesn't just do a lateral jump. He has to go at a diagonal and literally jump in front of Bumblebee to have him ram into him.
And he's not holding on to anything. You can very clearly see Spike is just doing a Superman pose on top of it. His belly is all that's keeping him attached to that hood.
Well, and here's the best part. Watch this, folks. How'd he stay on top of that?
He's not holding on to anything. Spike should be going flying through the air and landing against the wall there. Please.
Why didn't he just open the car door and jump in?
Right. So, Spike, congratulations. You got our 80s Stunt Award for Best Stunts Done During a Transformer episode.
You know what's brilliant is the fact that there's a wonderful firefight going on. That nice little space car wobbles off, knocks all the energon out, and then suddenly out of nowhere, Megatron's like, I gotta get this energon straight to Cybertron. So he goes over, and they're like, I'm gonna shoot that, and guess what? Somebody shot it, exploded, knocked him into the space bridge, and then apparently it's a toilet, because look at him go, whee!
So he's on what, you know those amusement park rides where you're stuck to the wall, you're spinning? This one, you're not even stuck. This is like you're in a fan that's spinning you around as you go circling up like a reverse cyclone, I guess.
I like to think of this as an Australian toilet from down under. You're swirling around the top, and then he's just flushed out the top.
And it's funny that me and Vespor are laughing at this. I do remember watching this episode originally. Me and my friend, we were cracking up at how funny it looked for Megatron to be breakdancing his way up. It's actually very funny just the way the whole scene comes up. Megatron's so worried about it, he jumps in there and floats away.
I still want to point this out, folks. It took them 4 million years to fix this on Cybertron. It took them 4 minutes on Earth.
Yeah, exactly. That's amazing. But there he goes. Poof. He goes through the magic circle in the sky. I'm always like, wow, that's how does that work?
And Starscream now assumes command and orders a retreat. And do you notice that?
To Starscream is telling himself to retreat because he's the leader now, and the other Starscream's like, yeah, good idea, Starscream. I'm Starscream too. Let's get out of here.
But here's the thing I'm thinking about is like, aren't you a little bit stupid here, Starscream? Because that's supposed to take you directly to Cybertron, which means I can open it up and bring him immediately back.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, Starscream being overzealous again, that's a running theme, but he's destroyed. I'm the leader now. Yay. Okay, yeah, right, Starscream. You know, he'll be back in the next episode.
And then we have Optimus and the rest of us going,
is he really gone, Optimus? And then zoom onto Cybertron. Shockwave, his loyal soldiers waiting for him. Gee, Megatron, thanks for visiting me. I haven't seen you. I'm not here for that, you idiot. You know, he does the Dr. Claw.
And just points over the horizon.
You have not seen the last of Megatron. I shall be avenged.
As we fade out and Megatron's all angry.
And we know that Shockwave's going, Megatron, I need it.
I still need energy, Megatron. You didn't get me any energy, Megatron. So there you go. That's how the episode ends. So interesting enough, and this won't happen often, but the next episode will continue from where this left off. We will still have Starscream thinks he's still in command, Megatron's still lost on Cybertron. That was Transport to Oblivion. It was a lot of fun, and I think we're ready for a review now.
Well, all I'm going to say right now is never have I seen so many nut shots in an episode of Transformers. This is absolutely hilarious. The episode itself is fun. It follows a decent storyline. You know what's going on. Although there are plenty of sound and animation errors, which is half the fun of watching these old episodes. But you can follow the story, you understood what's going on. You also had to disregard a bunch of things because you're going to see a lot of abilities that you'll never see again. And unfortunately, Bumblebee and some others were left to the fate of plot armor that they had to do some incredibly stupid things. And because of this, I'm giving this a good solid 3.5. There are still much better episodes to come, but for the actual first on the TV series, not counting the pilot, it's a good solid start, and it sets a good bar because there is some very good ideas here. Overall, it does leave a lot more questions than it answers.
Yes, and the question is, how good is this episode? And I'm going to say I enjoyed it. You know, this is the first edge of the pilot, so the pilot established everything, and now we get to see how is this all going to play out. Now we're going to see an action adventure of what they deal with, and it's fun. I like where they went with this. You see the Decepticons will hatch some plan. That's always going to be part of it. This time it's a space bridge, and the space bridge is going to get much use in this series, so get used to this. And it was used well. It's fun that you have a way to get to Cybertron easily, but it does the whole time limit thing, that's nonsense. That won't really be played much. But it was a fun usage here because that became a plot point that caused a lot of things to happen. I think the episode's very funny because of the silly things that happen. You have Spike leaping onto a car. You have Spike running after Bumblebee. You have Spike doing hand motions. I mean, Spike was hilarious in this episode, and it wasn't even his fault. Just the situation he was in were ridiculous and overly humorous, and I don't know if the animation didn't realize what they're doing, but it was hilarious. You had Megatron actually being a competent leader and keeping Starscream in his place a few times. I like that here. But then again, Megatron also comes off as stupid. He just blasts a wall and thinks that's good enough when they just got out of the same situation very easily, so that was a little dumb on his part. Fun situation. They used the characters well. I don't get the whole idea of all these Autobots were spying around and doing things while this is all going on. It makes you wonder, what are the Autobots doing this whole time? But we had to reduce the characters a little bit because it would be so overwhelming if you had every Autobot against the reduced Decepticon forces, so I get it. Lots of fun. I enjoyed this. I'm going to also give it 3.5. I think I agree fully with Vespor. This is a 3.5 episode. Great storyline. Great way to start things off. It sets the motion right. It's actually to be continued because we have Megatron and Starscream still being in the similar situations that this episode leaves us in, so it'll be fun to see what happens next. I like where it went with this, and I can't wait to do more. This has been so much fun looking at these episodes of Vespor, and we're only just beginning, where we'll have many more Transformer reviews for you because you guys requested it. You guys are going to get it. And yeah, we're only getting started. Episode 5 will be coming soon, so stay tuned for that.
Now that we've shared this wonderful episode with you all, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and
ring that bell. See you all next time, Vesper's Retro Reviews. And don't forget to let us know what you thought of this episode. We always like to hear feedback. Please do comment, like Vespor said. We really want to hear your thoughts on Transport to Oblivion, the first real episode that's not a pilot. So this was the real one that started it all for regular season 1. Let us know what you thought of this one. Take care, everybody, and transform and roll out.
No, actually, I think that we should have Spike just carry the Autobots. It seems like he's the most important player on their team.
Yes, without Spike, what would we have this episode? That's a very good point, Vespor, and I also want to...
My foot, it's cut. Yes, making it easier to